Hello and welcome back to eCabinets Tips and Tricks. My name is Scott Marshburn. Have you ever wanted to make a cabinet with other cabinet components attached to it without having to create an assembly? For example, you want to put an island in this room, and in this case you want to put an upper cabinet above that island and have a face frame on the back with doors and a face frame on the front with doors. Well, ordinarily, uh, at first thought you would say, well, this has to be an assembly to do this. Actually, it don't. I'm going to show you how that I do it. I'm going to take a cabinet, an upper cabinet, in this case with 4 doors. I'm going to place it here on the wall. You don't have to, you can guesstimate where it needs to go, but in this case I'm just going to place it against the wall and I'm going to move it out 48 inches from the wall. So I've got 48 inches under my move increment here, under objects. I've got my cabinet highlighted, and I'm just going to hold down my shift key and hit my down arrow key to move it out 48 inches. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to create a cabinet with just a face frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cabinet in Cabinet Editor, highlight the cabinet and go to Edit, and in Settings and Preferences I'm going to make sure everything is butt joint and I don't have any insets. 0 deck float, let's change that to 0. And the back, everything is butt. So what we can do now, click on OK. And we're going to want to go into Shelf and Partition Editor. Currently there are no shelves or partitions in this cabinet. If they were, you would want to go ahead and remove that. And let's see here. That's 36, so that's fine. This cabinet is 36 inches high. I was just making sure that this frame height was the same. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to remove the top by clicking None. I'm going to remove the back by unchecking Has Back. Uncheck Has Left In. Uncheck Has Right In. Uncheck Has Deck. And then in face frames, we want to make sure we don't have any scribes. If you want a scribe, you can put one there. But usually I leave it 0. Now I'm going to click on OK. And as you can see, the only thing we have is a face frame with 4 doors on it. So let's go home, and I want to change the depth to the thickness of my face frame, which is 3/4, and hit enter. Now this is in the center of the origin. What we could do at this point, since we want this to be on the back of the cabinet, we should be able to double click and select the whole cabinet, or highlight it like that, I don't think that'll work. I'm going to double click and rotate item. I'm going to rotate it on the Y axis so that it is backwards. Actually, I'll tell you what, we may want to use this for something else, so let's don't do that. Right now we just want to save that cabinet. So I'm going to click on save, just like you would any other cabinet you're developing. I'm going to change the name right here to standard upper applied frame to open 4 doors. I'm going to click save, saving it under the same directory as a cabinet. And you'll see later on why I'm doing this, but for now, that's what we're going to do. Now we need to turn around and we need to double click on the cabinet again. Now this time, we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Export Selection. File, Export Selection. Now it brings up this Save As dialog, public documents, Thermwood, eCabinet systems, import, and right now it's in a file or a folder that I created called test. You can create a new folder and name it whatever you want, and this is how you would go about doing that. Just click new folder, and I'm going to call this eCab Tips Demo. And click. Let's see, I don't want it under that. I don't want it under my test directory. Let's do this again. File, Export Selection. I don't want it in my test directory. Oh, I can't create a new folder. So the public documents, import. Let's see, I can't go back either. Okay, so import. Okay, now I can create a new folder. Import, I'm going to call it eCab and something like this. HSFS and enter. Now I can double click this. So now I'm under public documents, Thermwood eCabinet systems, import eCab tips demo. And I'm going to name this upper to opening 4 doors applied frame. Okay, and save. Now what we've done is we've created a display object here. This is no longer a cabinet. So I'm just going to back out of this. Ah, crap. Let's see. We've got it saved as a cabinet and we've got it saved as a display object. Let's double check and make sure. Okay, there's our cabinet. If we go to display objects and we find this file called eCab Tips Demo, we should have it right here. As you can see, it has no image. So we've got it saved, so let's just return to the room, and no, I do not want to save the changes. Now we're going to bring this cabinet back into Cabinet Editor, and I just simply want to remove the back. Make sure it doesn't have any insets, and uncheck has back, and OK. Now, as you can see, this cabinet is still 12 inches deep. If you want it to be exactly 12 inches deep after you put the frame on, you're going to have to accommodate for the face frame thickness. As you can see under dimensions here, I'll click on the face from the face frame in the back. The Z distance is 12 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that, the depth of that, to 12 minus 3/4 and enter. Okay, if I go home, now I can bring in my, under display objects, and bring in this frame we just created as a display object. Let's see, if I go to back view, reset view, back, you can see the frame in here. If I click on the frame, I can move it up about 6 inches here and move increments just so I can get a hold of it good. Go back to home. Now I have my cabinet selected. Let's look at the left end here. We're going to have to rotate that. So I'm going to right click and rotate item. I'm going to rotate it on the Y axis 180 degrees. Now I need to double click my cabinet, double left click. I'm going to use my align tool. I'm going to click on my cabinet first. Let me get it rotated so I know that I'm on this corner here. You don't want to be somewhere else. I need to be right on this very corner right here. Sometimes this can be okay. Now I'm on that corner. The first object that I clicked on is the one that's going to stay stationary. The second object, or the red dot, is the one that's going to move. So now I click on my align tool again, and since I don't have a scribe on this, I'm just going to align to 0. Hit escape, escape, and escape. Now as you can see, the face frame is on the back side of the cabinet, and it's not going to tell you the style because this is a display object, but you can click on it and you can right click and select scale object and make sure that your height is correct. And it's saying it's 1.5 inches deep because it's including the doors, but that's okay. So what we need to do, since we got this highlighted, we need to double click on our cabinet and right click and associations, associate the cabinet. Now we can return to our room, click yes, and as you can see, I'll zoom in here, we have our frame on the back side of the cabinet with the doors. Excuse me. Now, because this is a display object here, if you run the cut list on this cabinet, you will not see anything for the face frame and doors. There's nothing in here. You see I have 4 doors. There should be 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to batch, and I've got this one in here already where I practiced, so I'm just going to remove this. You're going to go to the library that you saved that frame or that cabinet in there first, and I've got this one right here, standard upper applied frame, 2 opening, 4 doors, and I'm just going to click on it, I want to keep it the same size, and I'm going to click add. And now we can rename this if we want. We can name this Allen Upper whatever you want to name it, and click OK. And that's what's going to show up on the cut list. So now if we go back into custom layout and we just click on cut list without highlighting anything, it's going to show us the cut list for cabinet number 1. Left style, right style, all that is in there. And cabinet number B1, which is our Allen upper applied back frame. And it should also show you the doors that go to it. So that's how I do that. And as you notice, this is not an assembly, so you don't have A1 cabinet assembly 1, cabinet 1, assembly 2, or assembly 1, cabinet 2, and so on and so forth. It's just simply 2 cabinets in the room, or 1 cabinet in the room, to show your customer what their cabinet's going to look like, with doors on each side. And you also have the actual cabinet in your batch, your frame, so you guys can make the face frame and you can order the doors or build the doors however you prefer. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please subscribe to my channel and post your comments, suggestions, or any questions you might have. Thank you for watching and have a good day.